Imagine sitting on the edge of your bed at 2 in the morning. Your back aches, your eyes are burning, and your body is heavy with the kind of physical exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. You just spent the entire night doing a massive favor for a friend, a favor you never actually wanted to do. You open your phone, seeking some kind of mindless distraction, and there it is. A photo of the very person you just exhausted yourself for. They are out having fun, drinks in hand, completely unbothered, while you sit in the dark feeling entirely drained. A heavy, familiar sinking feeling drops into your stomach. You tell yourself you are just being a good friend. You pride yourself on being the reliable one, the easygoing one, the one who never causes friction and never says no. But underneath that quiet pride is a suffocating, silent resentment. You give and give and give, hoping that if you are just accommodating enough, useful enough, or invisible enough in your own needs, you will finally feel safe. You will not be left behind. You will not be rejected. You live terrified of that slight shift in someone's tone, that momentary flash of disappointment in their eyes. We often call this being a nice person, or we label it as falling into the nice guy trap. But if we are going to be completely honest with each other right now, it is not really about being nice. It is about control. It is a deeply ingrained, almost unconscious survival strategy. It is the silent belief that your worth is a transaction, and you have to constantly prepay your rent in everyone else's life, just so they do not evict you from their heart. The root of this endless giving is not simply a desire to be loved. It is a profound, almost paralyzing fear of being rejected. In psychology, this is closely tied to what we call rejection sensitivity. It is an emotional trap where even the smallest hint of a no, whether it is you saying it to them or them saying it to you, feels like a catastrophic threat to your entire relationship. You equate boundary setting with abandonment. Let me tell you about a time when this realization quietly broke me. I used to be the person who said okay to absolutely everything. Someone needed a shift covered at work at the last minute. Okay. Someone needed to vent their emotional chaos at 3 in the morning. Okay. One weekend, a friend asked for help moving out of their apartment. I had been working intensely all week. My body felt like lead, and I desperately just wanted a quiet weekend to sleep. But the word sure slipped out of my mouth before my brain could even register my own fatigue. I spent the entire night hauling heavy boxes up 3 flights of stairs, destroying my back, sweating through my clothes, swallowing my exhaustion. I got home as the sun was coming up, completely hollowed out. I woke up hours later, opened my phone, and saw their social media story. They were out at a loud brunch, laughing, clinking glasses, looking completely refreshed. They had not even bothered to text me a simple you. I felt this sudden rush of hot, suffocating anger. But the bitter, uncomfortable truth was this: I was not just mad at them. I was furious with myself. I had handed over my boundaries on a silver platter, and I was secretly angry at them for accepting the gift. This behavior sneaks into the smallest, most ordinary corners of your life. It looks like apologizing profusely to a stranger when they are the one who blindly bumped into you on the sidewalk. It looks like sitting at your desk, spending 20 minutes drafting a text message to decline a casual dinner invitation. You add layers of fabricated excuses, excessive exclamation points, and multiple apologies because a simple statement that you cannot make it feels too violent, too risky. It even looks like laughing at jokes you do not find funny, just to keep the atmosphere in the room comfortable for everyone else. We convince ourselves that being low maintenance makes us lovable. But the cost of being the person who never requires anything is that you slowly erase yourself. You become a hollow space for other people to store their needs. The fear underneath is agonizingly simple. If I am inconvenient, I will be abandoned. And when you live with that much unspoken fear, the world becomes an emotional minefield. Because you give so much of yourself, You secretly expect a return on that investment, even if you never admit it out loud. You expect safety. You expect attentiveness. A few days after that moving incident, I sent a casual message to another friend. I watched the little read receipt appear at the bottom of the screen. And then, silence. They left me on scene. To someone else, this is just a busy afternoon. To me, it was an avalanche. My chest instantly tightened. My breathing got shallow. My mind started racing at 1,000 miles an hour. What did I do wrong? Did I sound too needy? Are they finally tired of me? I started mentally reviewing every single interaction we had shared for the past month, desperately scanning for my own mistakes. That is the absolute cruelty of rejection sensitivity. Your brain takes an ambiguous silence and immediately translates it into absolute abandonment. It is not just a fleeting thought, it is a full-body reaction. A heavy physical drop in your stomach. An old, unhealed memory of being dismissed, ignored, or made to feel invisible suddenly takes the steering wheel. In that split second, your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a busy friend who forgot to text back and a fundamental threat to your emotional survival. Suddenly, you are not a rational adult waiting for a digital message. You are a scared kid who feels fundamentally unlovable. You automatically assume that their lack of response is a direct reflection of your lack of value. If you recognize yourself in this, if you see your own exhaustion in this endless cycle of overgiving and overanalyzing, I need you to pause for a moment. Take a breath. I need you to hear this clearly, without judgment. You are not weak for doing this. You are not a pushover, and you are not broken. You are simply a person who, at some point early in your life, learned that the only way to ensure connection was to abandon yourself. You adopted people-pleasing as a shield. It was a brilliant, highly effective, and deeply necessary adaptation to environments where your true feelings were considered too much, or where love was treated as highly conditional. Your nervous system is just doing exactly what it was trained to do. It is trying to keep you safe from the unbearable sting of disconnection. But you are not in that past environment anymore. And this shield, this heavy armor of being the perfect, compliant friend, is now crushing you under its own weight. It is time to start putting it down. The shift begins with how you handle the small triggers. It begins with learning to self-soothe when the panic hits. When you are left on scene and that familiar terror floods your chest, do not immediately try to fix it. Do not send a panicked follow-up text. Step back. Name what is happening in your body. Say to yourself, out loud if you have to, that you are feeling triggered right now. Acknowledge that you are experiencing a memory of abandonment. Remind yourself that you are feeling scared because of a silence, but this silence does not mean you are worthless. You have to learn to comfort the panic inside you before you try to evaluate the relationship. And then comes the hardest, most beautiful part of this journey, learning to say no without turning it into a conflict. You do not have to be aggressive to set a boundary. You do not have to be cold, and you do not have to be defensive. You just have to be clear. I remember the very first time I actually said no after that exhausting, moving incident. Someone asked me for a favor that would have completely derailed my only day off. My heart hammered in my throat. My palms were sweating. But instead of my usual, automatic yes, I tried something different. I used a short sentence, followed immediately by an alternative. I simply said that I could not help with that this weekend, but I would be happy to look at it on Tuesday. That was it. No over-explaining. No groveling apology. No inventing a fake illness to justify my refusal. Just a gentle, firm truth. And you know what happened? The world did not end. The sky did not fall. They just looked at me and said that Tuesday works perfectly. It was profoundly, beautifully anticlimactic. I realized then that my boundaries were not weapons designed to hurt people, they were just doors. And I was finally allowed to close them. You will lose some people when you stop being a limitless resource. That is a painful truth you have to accept. But the people you lose are the ones who were only ever in love with your compliance, not with you. They loved what you could do for them, not who you actually were. Setting boundaries is how you invite the right people to love the real you. It is how you stop treating your own needs as an irritating afterthought. It is terrifying at first, I know. You will feel immense guilt. Let the guilt sit there. Do not run from it. Let it burn for a moment. Because on the other side of that guilt is your actual life. You do not have to earn your space in this world by being perpetually useful to everyone else. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to protect your peace. It is okay to finally let yourself rest.